sorry. I don't answer non-media questions. Even I was invited in as a media person. She refused to answer my question, and that's how we end the documentary. I do want to also mention the website.
Yes.
Which is www.beggingforbillionaires.com. And you also see our trailer on there, a lot of information, articles, and G. Gordon Liddy we did in the beginning of May. And I think you'll get a lot more information from the website. This is going on all over the country. And I was saying earlier...
Are you kidding? They're using phony environmentalists, where we've got property in East Texas to try to steal everybody's land. It's all phony. They're just thieves.
Yeah, but it's also racist. Richmond Heights, which is the original first black community in St. Louis. It was built for people who were working in the brick factory that was there. Richmond Heights has a lot of shopping centers, and Joanne Bailey basically says we don't need any more shopping centers. They're taking out 3 blocks of this black community because she says, in her own words, they don't want us here. And they're going to build high-rise condos, expensive buildings, and also a shopping center.
And then all that does is actually drive up real estate prices where the working folks and poor folks can't pay to live. It's unbelievable.
Well, the favorite case, I think, in the whole documentary is Jim Rue. Jim Rue is a minister out of St. Louis. He lost quite a bit of property. What he basically does is he runs low-income housing for the poor. And they took out a bunch of his property, Bohemian Heights, to build a shopping center. So he had one building that they were going to take, and they didn't take it. And what happened was it looks over coming east into the highway into downtown Kansas City. He had this tall building, so he put a great big anti-eminent domain mural on his building. Well, the redevelopment agency told him to take it down or they'll come and remove it. Well, he had a couple of lawyers, and finally the Institute of Justice came in, and he won, saying it was First Amendment.
So now they're so mafia, they're going, hey, on your own property, you don't put up signs talking bad about us, so we'll send by some guys to take care of you.
Yeah. And I told Jim, I said, if they come on your property, take the mural down, you have the sheriff's department arrest them for trespassing. And which is interesting, the court really ripped the redevelopment agency that they had no authority.
But that's what I mean. Government and these quasi-government groups are getting crazier and crazier. Like cops will see an ambulance drive by speeding and they'll say, he thinks he's above the law. I'm pulling the ambulance over. I mean, they're going crazy. It's like,
it's scary out there. It really is because, and you look at your property, go outside and look at your property and think,
is it really yours? You're already paying way too high of property tax on it. Most people can barely hold on to their property. But even if you can, it's really not yours because they can just come by and steal it.
Yeah, but what's even funnier we found out in the investigation, which is not in the documentary, there's developers driving around with maps looking at people's property in areas that they can go and redevelop.
No. You know what we found? It was on West 36th Street, West 37th, because he had a house. He had 2 houses he built after World War II, Roland Ellingston, a retired arborist. I need to go see if Roland's alive. He was dying of cancer, and I saw him years later at a rally, barely alive. He's just a really tough old guy. And this is how I found out about this, like in 1996. And I go out there, and I noticed the same pattern. He had 2 houses he built, nice houses, but there were like Mercedes and yuppies and, 3-4 bedroom little houses, but nice, that were built in the 20s and 30s and stuff, 40s, that were going for $600,000, $700,000 back then. That was high for Austin. Must be millions now. And realtors would come and try to buy it, some of his neighbors, and he wouldn't sell. And so then it was the 3-inch grass fines, and it was the cops coming and arresting him.
Yeah.
So I guess it's these parasitic realtors.
Yeah. And yeah, they're part of it. And which is interesting is getting back to H&R Block. It's not just H&R Block. It's a lot of Fortune 500 companies. Walmart is probably one of the worst abusers of eminent domain. Target. I mean, I could name...
Well, Target's really a CIA, NSA front. Did you know their big business is security, like the cameras and grids and biometrics you see?
No.
Target is the leader in that. In fact, let's put that on screen. Google Target's security business, and then you'll see a bunch of headlines on that. Yeah, no, it's... Well, I mean, IBM's a government front. Microsoft's a government front. This is really on record, as people don't know it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Target's really wicked. So yeah, tell us about Target.
Well, yeah, they've gone in and they've taken out homes and businesses and to build a Target or a shopping center, which Target will be in. And they've done Walmarts that way all over the country because I work with eminent domain groups all over the country from both coasts, and I get emails of people telling me their stories.
Google Target's real business or Target Store's real business. Sorry, go ahead.
And when you really find out that it's just kind of like a mafia type of deal what happened is big Fortune 500s have become the new mafia.
No, they're the global government.
Yeah.
And they come into third world countries, the U.S., anywhere, and they buy off the local politicians. Then they got the cops, and they say, look, we have weapons. Stand down. It's ours.
Well, actually, if you go to Google on YouTube, there's actually a film on there of a woman being dragged at Connecticut, being dragged out of her home by police, sheriff's office, actually pulling her out of the house.
And some of these people in New London, Connecticut, these were 3, 4, 5 generations. These were doctors and lawyers. I mean, this was, and the point is, if they'll go after middle class people and homes that have been in the family 3 generations, nobody's land is safe.
Well, that's what happened in Sugar Creek. Penelope Marsh talks about how her uncle lived down the street. Her uncle lived in this house. Her grandfather, died in the house. She was born in the house. And her mother breaks down in tears and goes, I can't eat. I can't sleep knowing that my house is going to be gone. But what we really show in this document is the psychological impact it has on people. We just don't have a bunch of talking politicians and a bunch of experts. We have actually the people telling their story. And I think that was important.
Yeah, that's what's important. I mean, look, a lot of people don't care about money and power. We're the normal people. We care about ancestral homes. We care about family. We care about comfort. We care about roots. And these dirty robber barons just run around all over the world kicking. Look, I remember 20 years ago being in southern Mexico in Yucatan, and there were brochures in all the nice hotels. Get UN biosphere land for super cheap. And now they've built it all up. And then later I learned they would kick the indigenous peoples all over Mexico off their cornfield lands they've been on for 1,000 years. They'd say, where's your deed? Well, we've always lived here in this village. This is our land. And that's why they're all in Mexico City. That's why Mexico City went from 12 million to 33 million in just 15 years, is they force them all up there off their land and then to the U.S. to have jobs. You can't blame them wanting to come here. And it's the same thing there, but it was UN sanctioned, where the UN and big corporations just paid the Mexican government, and they said, okay, come on in and just take whatever they got.
Wow. Yeah, and Richmond Hyde, and well, I'll tell you, Arnold, we were really shocked what happened in Arnold. We went to, I don't know if you know about Dr. Dukakis. He was a dentist. There was a lot of publicity about it. They were building the development around him, and they put dirt mounds and tore up the road so his patients couldn't come, and they were harassing him. Well, we went down to do the interview for the documentary, and we met this guy named Steve who had a trailer park. Originally, Arnold was all trailer parks, and now I couldn't believe it. It's like one shopping center across from another. They have like 20 shopping centers for this little town. He invited us to the city council meeting. He goes, you're not going to believe this since you're doing this documentary. Well, if you show up at the city council member and talk about eminent domain or redevelopment, the mayor at that time, the mayor pro tem, when we were there, said, this is your warning. You're out of order.
Oh, that's all over the country that you're arrested. They say there's no free speech. No, I've seen it a million times, but no, I didn't know about this case.
Yeah, and they basically dragged him out of the meeting. Escort, 3 cops, escort. Arnold is one of the worst. He's been trying to get documents for a year and a half. They won't give documents. I said,
listen, under zoning in Illinois, did you see this in the Illinois papers about 5, 6 years ago? People wake up at 6 a.m. and the cops are in front of them. They come in your house without a warrant for a home inspection of zoning to make sure more people aren't living there that are supposed to. And even if there's 2 people zoned for the house, they will go look and see if there's more than 2 toothbrushes and then give you a fine if there's more than 2 toothbrushes. Now, for 2 people. Now, I've got like 3 in my drawer, and,
what happens if you're using a toothbrush to clean your dog or your cat?
You can't make this up. This was in the newspapers, and they were saying it was good, and the people were bad because they didn't like it. What's the name of the YouTube video? We're going to play your trailer